Brennan throwing for 4,800 yards and 47 touchdowns in the fall.
He faked the spike, unloads a deep ball. Brennan for the touchdown. Finds Kayshon Boutte for the first touchdown of the day, and it comes off a fake spike. He fooled his own defense there, Tom.
And we say happy Wednesday afternoon to everybody out there. We are here with Tigers Roar, another edition of Tigers Roar. Buddy Sanji in the house today, wearing the sunglasses because of, well, it's sunny outside. Taylor Sharp making his debut, and LSU baseball has been in the tank. Sometimes you need the sunglasses. We've got LSU spring football to talk about. All kinds of things happening in women's and men's basketball, the gymnastics. What a close tumble on the beam. And once again, you and I always talk what's going on here in the capital city. So good to have you on. You do my board and work with me on TV, radio, and internet. And we are here, folks, at Old School Barbecue. It is the talk of the town. And you came in here. Of course, I certainly have a COVID 5 or 10. I don't need to test the barbecue, but you gave rave reviews for the brisket today.
Brisket was solid. Some of the best brisket I've had. I'll tell you what's even better than that, the sausage.
Yeah?
Sausage is good.
Can't beat that, folks. Come by and see us. We'll give you details about the restaurant. But trust me when I tell you the internet can be very cruel to me or you or Maneri or Les or whoever. But, man, when they talk good about you on the internet, you know you're really good, Taylor.
I hope they ain't too harsh is all I'm saying.
Hey, let's get right into it. Obviously, we are in the midst of LSU at the halfway point with baseball. And this has been tough to watch. This has been tough for anybody out there viewing. By the way, they'll go and play at Ole Miss tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We are taping here Wednesday, April the 21st. And so tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and Ole Miss has got a couple of really good pitchers. Landon Marceau, probably been the most consistent and the MVP of the LSU baseball team right now. But you've already been looking in your kitchen for the broom. You think it's going to be tough for LSU to win a game this week?
Yeah, I'm looking for the broom big time. I just think it's going to be tough. I mean, you mentioned Marceau. He has like a 1.89 ERA now, but you got to hit these Ole Miss pitchers, and that's just going to be – I think it's just going to be too tough to do this week.
Update with the Zoom once again today from Coach Maneri earlier this morning. Hayden Travinski has once again redeveloped some issues with his elbow, so he's not going to be behind the plate. He may have a chance to DH, but that brings in Alex Milazzo and Zach Arnold going through a tough slump at 1 for 22. Going to get set down, and Drew Bianco going to go and get a chance to play at second base. DiGiacomo is back at center field, but the big problem, as we've talked about, it seems like for the last 3 or 4 weeks, can they finish games and can they make the right decision on who to keep in the game pitching and who to bring into the bullpen? And it just has not been easy this year, Taylor.
Yeah, they're a little snake bitten almost when it comes to, finding the right guy in the bullpen. It just seems like whatever decision they make now turns out to be the wrong one. But, you mentioned Hayden Travinski not catching. If this was a week ago, I'd have been really concerned. But Milazzo hit the ball pretty well last night. I think he was 1 for 3, drove in 2 runs. He played pretty well last night.
LSU sitting at 4-11. The conventional wisdom is that, look, it is as strong as it's ever been. And we know there for a couple of weeks there now, the SEC had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the top-rated teams in the not SEC rankings, national rankings. Of course, that has changed a little bit because everybody's beating each other up. I got to tell you, man, Ole Miss, Ole Miss. I'm old enough to know when I was growing up, LSU and Ole Miss. And like I said, I went to my first football game with my dad, and lo and behold, him and an Ole Miss fan almost got to fight on the back to the car. It was really spicy. They are going to be after LSU starting tomorrow night. They play Friday at 6:30 and Saturday at noon. Those other two games, the last two games on the digital network, this is a hornet's nest. And Coach Maneri was asked about that today. And he says, look, I'm not going to play any crowd noise or whatever, but this is a tough challenge. And then, of course, next week you host Arkansas. So at 4-11, Taylor, even the most optimistic LSU baseball fan is thinking they may win one game this weekend and next weekend, and that's the most optimistic fan. You hope that they don't lay an egg, but to me, it's all about finishing games, and they've had trouble doing that as of late.
Yeah, they have. And look, there's a big possibility that they could get swept 2 weekends in a row, and I would hate to see that happen. But look, you mentioned going into that hornet's nest this weekend. I think they had about 11,000 people at Ole Miss last week. This is going to be by far the most hostile environment this team's seen all year. And look, you got a lot of young guys on this team, and Neri alludes to it all the time, but they need to step up big time if they're going to do anything significant in the series.
Taylor Sharp once again in the house. JP, speaking of houses, just got into a new house with his wife and family, so we gave him the night off. Taylor came in here, and, this is great now. You're going to be in a bullpen. You work a very scheduled. Taylor works with a lot of stations, does a lot of great work. And this is his business just like this is our business, and he enjoys it. He's objective. He does his research. And for a guy in your 20s, you think a little bit differently than the normal millennial.
Yeah, dude, I'm a little old school. I don't like being called the millennial. Me and you have we've joked about that a little bit. Yeah, I'm an old school guy. I try to keep it simple and not go over the top and freak out like everybody my age nowadays does.
Well, it is interesting because, as we know, the economy and I guess you could say our lifestyles and the way we live. I often joke when LSU's winning football games. And look, we're right here, in a very busy part of town with Coursey going to airline. And in 2019, you wouldn't believe the number of people that would just let me out because LSU had just kicked Alabama.
Yeah, they're nicer in traffic and everything.
I mean, look, you get more babies conceived and born. You get more, obviously, more food, booze, and everything else sold. It impacts this economy. And lo and behold, as we know, it's almost embarrassing and a little bit frightening to see the attendance fall off in baseball. Do you think that they can reclaim, or you like most people? I'd say about 80% of people in town right now thinking, this season is about done. But they got to make the tournament at least.
Yeah, they do, and I think they can rebound. I want to blame most of this on COVID. We're still at 50%. Those Mississippi schools, they can get to 100% capacity, but the program has a little, it's stale right now. People have a little stale taste in their mouth. They got to make some changes, and whether that's at the top or minor changes. But yeah, something needs to be done, or you're going to fall off in attendance a little bit.
Yeah. Of course, that segues us over to basketball. And Taylor, if you would, Will Wade has been busy. As we know, the 4 expected departures. Most people think Cam Thomas is going to be a mid to late first round pick. Javonte Smart, I thought this was the best he had played in his 3 years. Really shot the 3-ball well. I love that step back 3-ball that he shot consistently this year. Of course, we know Watford is also going to go and sign with an agent. And Darius Days has declared but is not yet signed with an agent. So there is a possibility he may come back. But you got to restock the roster, and so far we've got a couple names that have committed and signed to come play with Will Wade and LSU. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, let's start with the guy we just got a couple days ago, Tari Eason. The announcement came across yesterday. He's a big 6'8" forward from the University of Cincinnati. He's actually going to have 3 years of eligibility remaining. He was a freshman last year, averaged about 7.3 a game, 5.9 rebounds a game, was actually an all-freshman selection in the American Athletic Conference, and he can move a little bit for a guy who's 6'8". I think he's a great addition to this team.
And then, of course, the combo guard I don't know if you were onto that, but this is a combo guard that can play a couple of spots, and he's got that SEC experience, and most of you know Andre Hyatt and of course Jalen Cook have put their names into the transfer portal. So you're going to have some attrition. Tell me about this kid that you like as a guard.
Yeah, Pinson. I am thrilled about getting Xavier Pinson. He's a guy that has averaged double digits for whole seasons multiple times in the SEC. 2 years ago, he averaged 13.5 a game. This year, he averaged 11.5 a game. He's very efficient. He can score at all three levels. He can step back, drive the lane, and he's pretty efficient at the free throw line as well. This is a guy who I think is going to come in and really just be a day one starter for this team.
We're taping on Wednesday, April the 21st. As if you got outside today, there were some blustery winds. And actually about 65 high, maybe even to the high 60s. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at the screen here. We do have our Roger Goodell shirt, the NFL draft. We may broach that subject. Everybody wanting to know where Chase is going to go and at what number. But lo and behold, the blustering rumor mill and winds have been blowing. I have a lot of good sources that think Kim Mulkey's going to be the next LSU women's basketball coach. And on the other hand, I got another handful that say, come on, man, it doesn't make sense. The numbers don't make up any kind of realistic prediction on that. But there has been a lot of talk. And we know that, of course, let's give Scott Drew and the men's coach at Baylor. They won the national championship and took down the undefeated Gonzaga Zags. That all being said, probability of Kim Mulkey being the next coach, or is this just a mid-April rumor that doesn't have much merit?
I think it's 50-50 right now because, look, when you hear a rumor that this many people go around, there's some smoke behind it. There is. I don't know if it's the right fit. Look, I'd love to have Kim Mulkey here in Baton Rouge. You know, she's a Louisiana gal. We all know about Kramer, and she's had a lot of success at Baylor. I mean, multiple national championships. She'd be a great ambassador for the university as well. I don't know if spending that kind of money on a women's basketball coach right now is in the cards for LSU.
And I just want to dispel a couple of the rumors that Dick Vitale has not changed his first name. He is still acting like his namesake. And what do you think is in the cards for him to always try and influence on Twitter? Now, look, I met Dick many, many years ago, and he was coming over here writing books, and he does do a lot to raise money for charity with the Jimmy V Foundation and all. But he has had a real bad attitude about Will Wade. And look, most people think that it impacted where Musa Sissy ended up going. He went to Memphis instead of LSU. Are we going to hear from Dick Vitale anytime soon, or do you think Will Wade and LSU basketball are going to say, hey, if you got the evidence, prove it. Otherwise, I'm going fast forward and moving up to reestablish his team as one of the better ones in the SEC?
You know, it's funny you mentioned Dick Vitale. I don't know if it was early this morning or yesterday evening. He tweeted something out or put it on social media, I'm not sure, and was saying that he's been told there's a lot of cheating going on in the transfer portal right now. And, you know, that comes at a pretty convenient time after Will Wade lands 2 big-time transfers. You know, I don't know if he has a personal vendetta against Will Wade in general, if it's something with the LSU program. But I get the sense that it's almost personal for Dick at this point. He doesn't treat other programs like this.
Yeah, and I tweeted Mr. Vitale, and he said, hey, bud, man, once a Dick, always a Dick. I'm not changing my first name. And so he has been a thorn, and unfortunately with social media, you just have nobody to rein him in. He can basically say anything, but I can say this. Will Wade is not going to ever send him a Christmas card.
No, they're not going to be going to any family cookouts together either. It's definitely bad blood between them, and it's well publicized too. I don't know if it can be fixed at this point.
You know, gymnastics, I have been a fan of gymnastics and watched closely as Dee Bro. I'll never forget, they used to go to Albertsons, give tickets away. They'd go everywhere. She worked her butt off for many, many years. A, to establish the program, but B, to get the Pete Maravich Assembly Center to be her friend. And it's incredible quality entertainment. Of course, all of that was taken by the wayside, but once again, Jay Clark, first year without Dee Bro, and they knock them dead in the first 2 apparatus and then had trouble on the beam and then fell off the bars and then fell off the beam. So didn't make it to the Final Four, but I think Jay Clark's got a great program on the horizon.
Yeah, I do too. Hopefully he can pick up right where Dee left off. She just built an incredible program here, a team that was competing for national championships year in and year out. And Coach Clark definitely has fans in Tigerland, very optimistic about this program going forward. I actually am a big gymnastics fan. Right when I got into college, a group of friends and I, we would go to a lot of the meets, and COVID messed a lot of that up. I haven't been in a while, but yeah, people seem really excited around Baton Rouge whenever the gymnastics team's solid.
Stick with us, folks. We'll take a quick time out, come back, let you hear from Paul Maneri on the Zoom call, talk about the spring game and some of the impact players that we saw. And as always, Mike Scarborough with recruiting at the back end of the show. It's a Wednesday, once again, live from Old School Barbecue on Coursey Boulevard right here on the Pelican Sports TV. Back right after this.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome you back. Buddy Sanji in the house with Taylor Sharp on a Wednesday afternoon. Filming on April 21. It is sunny outside. That's why I have the sunglasses on. Incredible smells of barbecue. I wish we had a little smell-o-vision in here. If you hadn't heard about Old School Barbecue, you are missing out. Taylor, once again, you wanted to add a tip or two about what you sampled before the show.
Yeah, homemade brisket, smoked 24 hours. It's about as good as you can get. Best I've had in a long time.
All right, speaking of smoking out at the box, look, Taylor, we talk about this all the time on the radio and the internet, but can you feel it? Just the want of people getting back to normalcy. Now, look, more and more people are getting vaccinated, and it's very, very problematic to see Mississippi State have 13,000 or Ole Miss have 11,000. So let's hope that before long we can get the box back to 100%. It's at 50% right now. We know that I've been watching the box scores. I think 3,500 is about what they've been having out there. But this is a hornet's nest, and we're going to let you hear from Paul Mainieri in a little bit. But a couple of decisions that were made with Travinsky getting hurt with the elbow now. Alex Milazzo will be behind the plate all weekend long, and Drew Bianco getting another shot at second base. You and I talked about it on the radio today. He hit that home run a couple years ago, his first year, and went back and looked at his daddy like, did you see that, Pops? I mean, he stared in that dugout. The guy has long ball potential, but unfortunately both him and Milazzo hitting below 200, the Mendoza line.
The problem is Bianco seems like the type of guy who tries to kill it every single time he's up to bat. You know, you saw it last night a little bit. A little breaking ball coming across the plate. He tried to get underneath it and lift it in the outfield, and he swung right through it and couldn't make any contact. But yeah, he does. He has long ball potential. And look, we're going to need that kind of fire this week against Ole Miss. I mean, look, don't start a fight or anything, but you're going to need that kind of swagger a little bit if you're going to go in there in a hostile environment and pull out a win.
I almost said something crazy. I almost said if LSU gets 4 runs tonight, I was going to buy you brisket for a week, but I got to remember, you're a young guy, and you could probably eat me out of a couple $100 worth of brisket in a week. But look, if you told me LSU would score 4 tonight, the way Landon Marceau is pitching, I'd say they'd steal the first game. I just don't know if LSU's going to get more than 1 or 2 against, and they've got really 2 aces on the Ole Miss pitching staff.
Yeah, they really do. They're number 2 starters, about as good of a number 2 starters you're going to find in the SEC. I agree with you, though. If LSU could get 4 runs, I think they could win tonight's game. Marceau's been almost unhittable, at least on a consistent basis. I mean, we talk about it, ERA in the 1.8 area. If they could get that, that would be huge. The only problem is I don't know if they can get that many hits against Ole Miss.
Gavin Dugas, of course, had a couple home runs last weekend, and unfortunately, after winning 5-1, they tanked away the game on Saturday, the first game. Most of you know it was rained out Friday night, and then played a double dip. You like the 7-inning doubleheaders, or is that? It is one of the things that they have to do when you have rainouts. Once again, it's kind of like overtime in football. It's not real baseball, not having 9 innings, but to get them in, that's what they've had to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things. It kind of is what it is. It's almost like a last resort at that point. I'm not crazy about it, but at the same time, you got to get it in at some point.
Here we go. Going to let you hear from Coach Mainieri with the Zoom, talking about LSU baseball and obviously recapping some of the games leading up to Ole Miss. Once again, Thursday night, 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Here is Coach Paul Mainieri.
Nice performance tonight by our guys. Wow, shutout, piecing it together. Was really happy with the way a lot of guys threw tonight. Really happy. Boy, I thought Will Helmers did a nice job, and Javen Coleman really threw the ball with a lot of conviction tonight. Alex Brady came in, did a really super job for us. A lot of guys really did a really nice job to shut them out. Now, that team's beaten Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State this year, all of them on the road. They just came off a very emotional win yesterday with a walk-off win over Little Rock. So obviously, it was a good victory for us. We did a lot of good things tonight, but when you shut a team out, you got a pretty good chance to win. So that was obviously the key for us. How many times did I use the word obviously in my first few sentences? A few too many times. So good win for us. Get on the bus tomorrow, head to Oxford, and get ready for a big series with the Ole Miss Rebels. Any questions?
Paul, you had said coming into this, you wanted to test a lot of those freshman arms. You thought they threw well? Did you find maybe some guys who could contribute this weekend who maybe haven't as much before?
Well, no question. I thought Javen Coleman was the real highlight. He threw the ball like he did against Louisiana Tech at the beginning of the year. His mound presence was great. He had great conviction with the way he threw with great confidence, threw the ball hard, had some good breaking balls. Throws like that, he can help us this weekend, no question about it. Thought Will Helmers did a good job. He threw some nice breaking balls, some good change-ups. And the intention was only to have him go 2 innings, but his pitch count was so low. They were real aggressive against him because he was throwing so many strikes. He did a nice job. He will not be able to pitch in the middle of the week next week because he has a final exam on Tuesday. He's got an economics final while we're going to be playing Grambling. So obviously he won't be able to pitch in the midweek. So there's no use saving him for the midweek game next week. So we'll definitely be using him on the weekend, probably on Saturday out of the bullpen or, who knows? We don't know, what we'll be using in the first 2 games. So it's potentially he could be starting the game on Saturday. Trying to think. I thought Michael Fowler threw the ball pretty good tonight again. Let me refresh my memory here. Like I said, I thought Alex Brady came in and did a nice job. And Theo Millis, did some good stuff again. Ty Floyd made things a little interesting there in the 9th inning with the 3 walks, but still got a couple of strikeouts. So, certainly not giving up on him, but we seem to have a lot of trouble getting those last outs in the 9th inning, in the final inning. That's something we need to, correct. Obviously, there's that word, obviously, again, just for you, Glenn.
Yeah, hey coach. I know you mentioned that one of the big things with Will is that he's pitched so well in the midweek games, but you haven't really seen it translate yet to conference games. I mean, I'm just curious. Was this the kind of what was maybe the crux of why maybe he's struggled a little bit in SEC play, and did you see some, I guess, improvements on what he could do, I guess, maybe this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think we made a concerted effort to use his breaking ball and change up a little bit more tonight, and thought he did well with them. And I think that'll be something that'll be key for him. You can't live in the SEC with just a fastball unless you have an elite fastball. And Will doesn't have an elite fastball. He's got a good fastball, 89 to 91. And usually it's got pretty good command and decent life to it. But it's not enough velocity. Hardly anybody, even the guys that throw really hard, like somebody like Fontenot even, with those mid-90s, can't live fastball alone. So you've got to be able to mix your pitches. And that's the thing that Will's, still working on developing. But tonight was a step in the right direction for him, I thought.
Coach Mainieri, after last night's 5-0 shutout over ULM, Will Helmers leads LSU with 6 victories. Probably going to see a little action in the SEC weekend. Inexplicably, he hadn't seen the mound the last couple of SEC weekends. People were wanting to know about that. Javen Coleman, Thad Millis, and, of course, now Michael Fowler all throwing it faster than 91, 92. So they are all going to be on the travel roster and some of these new arms. But it is real disconcerting. And you and I have had this discussion. Man, 2 years ago, Devin Fontenot at the end of the year was as nasty as anybody. Nobody wanted to go up there and face him. He was throwing strikes, he's throwing hard, and had that wicked curveball that would make you look silly. Unfortunately, he's lost his confidence, and He's not been able to finish games out. We know Garrett Edwards has had some issues finishing games out. Ty Floyd, I mean, who is the closer and who do you go to if LSU's in a close game? These are all questions that are having to be answered now, Taylor. And here it is, midway through the season in the SEC schedule. Usually you have those answers by the start of SEC ball.
Yeah, you know, and you really still don't have, you don't have that answer about who's going to be your closer. As far as stuff goes and dominating fastballs, you would like to see Ty Floyd really be that guy and take that next step. Floyd's biggest problem is that he doesn't have control over his pitches. You saw him walk 3 guys in the midweek game against ULM. Now, he struck out 2 in that inning, and it didn't really affect him much, but you know, you can't do that against teams that are opportune hitting. You know, we thought Garrett Edwards was going to be that guy at one point. He's kind of faded it as well. They really don't have a pure closer. I would say it's pretty much situational at this point.
And, of course, we know that LSU baseball is dear to many people's hearts. I wonder how many Tiger fans. Now, look, they've got loyal travelers. I haven't verified with Chris Giat if he's gone, but there will be a couple hundred LSU fans minimum going over there. I just think, once again, very close game tomorrow night. If you can steal one, fine. A.J. Labus has pitched well as well. Blake Money has not gotten it done the last couple of weekends as the third weekend starter. So, as we said, we expect a rambunctious and loud crowd. Look, you're picking a sweep by Ole Miss. I'm thinking that LSU will be lucky to get one. And then you got Arkansas. What's it going to take to get into even to get into the SEC tournament, much less the postseason?
Look, there's no doubt these next 2 series are going to be huge for LSU, you know, against Ole Miss and Arkansas as well. What's really going to keep you in it is how you perform in those last 3. You know, you got Auburn, you got Alabama, and you got A&M. It's imperative that you win the majority of those games. You would like to sweep Auburn. I don't know if you can. That would be your best bet, is to do that. But yeah, those last series are going to be huge for this team if they want to get in the SEC tournament.
I had a buddy of mine text me, and he said, boy, you really into that baseball this year. I think I said, first of all, the first week I said 15 and 15. They looked pretty good, and I said 16 and 14. Now, Taylor and I are both thinking LSU's going to win 10, 11, or 12 games in the conference. And if that was the case, they would probably have to win the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover to get into the postseason.
Yeah, they would. And, I mean, you know, that's to be a 3 or 4 seed in a regional. I mean, you know, being a high seed in the regional, that's just not going to happen for this team this year. You're not going to see it. It's a little too late for that. But, look, there's still a lot to play for. You can get in that tournament if you can make some noise in the tournament. You know, you can still get in the postseason.
Shout out to Cam, our bartender over here at Old School Barbecue. She does it as well as anybody on Coursey Boulevard. Come by and enjoy happy hour, incredible barbecue. And we are going to take these sunglasses off and talk LSU football in the spring game. How cool was that as we open the show? I can't ever remember, and you may have a better memory. I don't know if I remember a lot of what happened on that replay where the quarterback faked a spike and then threw a touchdown. He did that well, but boy, what a race with Max Johnson and Miles Brennan, lack of running backs, all those other things. We'll talk some football. You remember an LSU quarterback ever doing that in a game?
Not in a game, no. I mean, you know, they throw in crazy stuff at spring games every now and then, little bitty wrinkles. No, I don't think I've ever seen it in a game, not that I can remember.
It may have happened one or two other times, but it's faint, and we'll see. And we'll talk about what LSU football in 2021 is going to bring. Oh, by the way, I've had this discussion with Scarborough and others. Do you think we're going to be looking at 100% attendance come September?
I do. Look, I'm an optimistic person by nature, but yeah, I do. I think we'll have 100% capacity. I think the way we're going, the cases we keep seeing in Louisiana, I think we're steady moving in the right direction. And yeah, I think we'll be full crowd.
Will you have to show a card that you got vaccinated, and will you have to wear a mask?
You may have to wear a mask. I don't know about the vaccination thing. I'll tell you what, LSU told their students that they were not going to be required to get vaccinated to return to campus. So I don't know. They may slide away from that vaccine card, but yeah, you may have to wear a mask still, at least for maybe the first couple of games. But look, a full house is a full house as far as I'm concerned.
Talking some football when we come back on a Wednesday edition of Tigers Roar. Myself, Buddy Sanji, Taylor Sharp, right here on a gorgeous Chamber of Commerce day. Back right after this on Pelican Sports TV.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
I've seen a lot of things during my life, more bad things than good. I've lived in a lot of places, but never a home. I don't think anybody cares about me anymore. And now I'm tired. Signed, Brian, age 11.
Abused and neglected children in East Baton Rouge Parish are in dire need of CASA volunteers. Please call 379-8598 today. Change a life of hurt into a life of hope.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
And we welcome you back Wednesday evening here in the capital city. Buddy Sanji once again. JP with the night off, and we went to the bullpen. Got Taylor Sharp before he got into the transfer portal, so we've signed him to a lucrative deal with us over here at Pelican Sports TV. And lo and behold, now our favorite. I mean, no disrespect to LSU baseball, but you know, if they were 11-4 instead of 4-11, I'd be a little more fired up. But you went to the spring game. I was multitasking, watching baseball and football. I've watched the spring game a couple times, and I've got a bunch of thoughts about that. But from a naked eye view, being in the press box, what did you take? And the first thing I got to ask you, man, was that field as green, and did it hold up as good as it looked on TV? Because that's the best I've seen the LSU field hold up underwater during the week, and the greenest I've seen in 4, 5, 6 years.
Well, it did, and you got to understand that, you know, we had a lot of rain leading up to that game, and there were no divots in the field after it was done. It looked like nobody had played on it at the end of that spring game. It was the best I've probably seen that field in 5 years.
Well, and of course, we know one of the first things that Scott Woodward did is the Country Music Fest was a great promotion, and it was a lot of fun. And that country music is not quite as popular as it was 5, 10 years ago, but every year they would tear the field up. And so the whole process of laying the grass in the soil and growing out. I don't think the roots were established enough so that when you had an inordinate amount of rain like we had last year, those divots would come up. And number one, it's embarrassing because LSU ought to have a better look and feel. But number two, a team that relies on spreading people out and using their skilled people and their speed, it wasn't a fast track. I think this is going to be an advantage for LSU this year.
Yeah, I mean, they looked good on Saturday as well. There wasn't any missteps by the receivers. You didn't see anybody slip in or late off the jump, off the snap of the ball. They were all playing fast. And, yeah, if that field can hold up all year, LSU's going to benefit from it.
Taylor, by the way, was a pretty good quarterback in his heyday in high school and also does a little high school coaching. His nickname is Snake because he is left-handed, and I guess you got that after Snake Stabler. But look, the snake on this team is Max Johnson. He's a lefty. His brother just committed to LSU, one of the best tight ends in the country. Max Johnson is about 6'4.5", 6'5.5", 220 to 225. Doesn't have the biggest of arms, but has the it factor. His daddy was a Super Bowl winner with Tampa Bay, makes all the throws. The thing I like about Max Johnson, and of course we know he led LSU to the last 2 season victories at Florida in the Fog and then the incredible comeback against Ole Miss, but he can make plays with his feet, and I like his pocket presence. So that being said, tell me a little bit about Max Johnson and what you think will determine. Looks like a two-headed monster right now. Miles Brennan has come back from injury, looked pretty darn good at times on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. Look, Miles Brennan throws a great deep ball. The problem I see with Miles Brennan right now is he's a little late on his reads when it comes to that 10 to 20-yard range. There was a play, it was early in the game. He had Jure Jenkins to his left, running across the middle. He didn't hit Jenkins till he got all the way on the other side of the field. Max Johnson's really quick with his delivery. He's very sure of himself. Now, I love the deep ball Brennan throws, but I just think Max Johnson sees the field a little bit better. I think he's got, a lot more mobility. We all know that. And that's the way college football is kind of going nowadays. With the exception of last year with Mac Jones, you really need a quarterback with some sort of mobility in order to succeed this day and age in college football. And, yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be ultimately the deciding factor in this quarterback battle.
Well, I'll just tell you this, folks. If you're like me and you put the tape in and you watch the 2019 season, I don't think we can emphasize enough how many plays Joe Burrow made with his feet. And look, when you talk about the play call of the year in the championship game, it's a third down. They don't have any timeouts. Joe Burrow goes on a quarterback draw up the middle of the field for 30-plus yards, gets out of bounds. They have enough time, of course, for Burrow to drop it off to Moss for a touchdown. Oh, by the way, Skowski, that hard-hitting, cheap shot artist from Clemson, hit Burrow and really hurt him. He was in pain for a good while, but the plays he made with his feet, that's the thing that I think separates Max Johnson from Brennan. But we do know that Miles Brennan looked pretty good those first 3 games and had just as gaudy stats as Burrow had his first 3 games in 19. So we'll see, but I don't think there's any advantage for Jake Peetz or DJ Mangus or Munoz or Ed Ogeron or anybody to talk about a pecking order at quarterback. So my question to you, and we're going to talk about TJ Finley and Nussmeier, but is there any reason to name a starting quarterback, and can they keep all 4 on campus until the fall camp?
I think they can keep them all on campus till the fall camp, and that all goes back to, will they name that starting quarterback? No, there's absolutely no advantage to naming a starting quarterback, at least not publicly, because let's not kid ourselves. These guys know where they stand in the pecking order right now. I mean, you can tell after the spring game. I'm sure the coaches will sit down with all of them now that spring's wrapped up and say, look, this is where you sit right now. This is what you need to improve on to move up the depth chart and higher in that pecking order. But no, as far as coming out and publicly making a depth chart, no, that's foolish.
TJ Finley is still a mountain of a man. I've only seen one quarterback at LSU as big as TJ Finley, and that was Jamarcus Russell, who ended up being the #1 draft choice, of course, of the Raiders. And I think he got about $39 million guaranteed. Unfortunately, he lost his uncle, who was a diabetic, and once Uncle Ray died, it really left Jamarcus without a father figure and somebody to lead him through the obstacles. But TJ Finley, 6'6". Now, he was 260-something. He lost a bunch of weight. He's a real fit 240, 245. Once again, started last year against Carolina and looked fantastic. Unfortunately, he regressed a little bit. And the main thing you can't do as a quarterback, and you know you played it, you coach it, you got to have ball security. You can't throw pick sixes, and you can't have a fumble that's picked up for a touchdown. TJ Finley, does he stick around, and what does he need to improve on in the offseason, in your opinion?
The big thing with Finley is footwork, and I know that kind of sounds funny to the casual fan, but, as someone who's played the position and coaches the position now, footwork is everything when it comes to quarterbacks. If you're off balance in your motion, you're not going to have any control of where that ball goes. It's like that pitcher. When you see the pitchers all wound up and they're throwing balls, it's the same thing. So he needs to work on his footwork, but his reads. He needs to get a little bit faster with his reads. He's slow finding his check downs. Stuff like that. If he can improve on that, I think he can be really successful. Now, does he stick around here at LSU? At this point, I would say no, just because of what occurred at the spring game. I would say he's third, maybe even fourth right now in terms of performance in that spring game. So I think it'd be hard to keep him, but if he can improve that, he could be a good quarterback.
Of course, the fourth quarterback that we discussed, Garrett Nussmeier, he did have 3 picks, but boy, they love his attitude. They love his it factor. Now, Garrett Nussmeier, I think, is going to end up being 6'2" and about 200 at LSU. But right now, he's probably closer to 6'1.5", maybe 6'1" and about 180. He'll get bigger and stronger. I think this is a perfect opportunity to redshirt. And as I was talking to Mike Scarborough on the show today, don't forget, folks, you can still play in 4 games and see a redshirt. LSU played 3 quarterbacks last year, Brennan, TJ Finley, and Max Johnson. That's why you don't want 2 of them to leave, because if the same thing happens that happened last year, you're up a creek without a paddle. Lo and behold, Garrett Nussmeier, you like a lot of the intangibles that he brought, and I think he probably is a better quarterback than actually was shown in the spring game.
Yeah, he is. Look, this is a guy that I've – if you guys listen to me and Buddy on the radio, you know that I've been hyping this guy up a lot. I think he has the chance to be actually the most talented of the 4. He's not ready right now. He's not, plain and simple. He's a young kid, and you saw that he was trying to force some balls that maybe he could fit in there in those high school windows, but not necessarily right now against these college defenders. Thing I liked about him, though, he threw 3 picks, but he didn't let that deter him. He still went out there and he still made those gutsy throws and led the first team offense on a touchdown drive right before the game was over. I think he has all the intangibles you look for in a quarterback. He needs to learn the playbook. We talked about him getting a little bit bigger and just gain that confidence and just all around learn the college game. If he can do that, I think he'll be more than fine in the college game.
Of course, all of you remember in 2019, LSU won the Joe Moore Award, which is the best offensive line in the country. Alabama won it last year. Those guys all came back and said, hey, we want to win the Joe Moore Award again. They all look pretty good. There's a couple of them that are heavy. Chasen Hines got dinged a little bit. Anthony Bradford, that mammoth offensive lineman who got up to about 365. They're trying to get him down to 325, 330. He played a lot at first team right guard, but Shanahan flanked by Ingram and Rosenthal on the left side, and obviously whether it's Chasen Hines or Anthony Bradford and Deculus on the right side. You worried, or you just want to see the backups develop? Because there's always an injury during the season. You need 8 or 9 to play. You comfortable that James Craig, the O-line coach, will have that this year?
Yeah, I am. Their main problem last year wasn't talent. We had a lot of these guys return from that 2019 team. The guys like Deculus, Ed Ingram, they didn't forget how to play football. They were just a little bit out of shape. And, you go look at the spring game, Chasen Hines looks a little bit out of shape, possibly Rosenthal as well. But if those guys can get in shape, a guy like Chasen Hines is just oozing with talent. I mean, when he was on the field in 2019 as a backup role and a little bit in 2018 as well in emergency situations, you saw how athletic this guy really could be as a pulling guard. If he can lose a little bit of that weight, I think he could be one of the better linemen on this team. And look, you got a guy like Deculus right next to him who's started a ton of games for LSU, and I actually think Deculus is underrated a little bit. I know there's some people who have some mixed opinions of him. If you can get 2 or 3 solid backups out of this team to go along with that starting 5, I think they'll be fine.
Running back was a shell of itself. Only TDP, Tyrion Davis-Price, was available. John Emery's been in the non-contact jersey all spring long. Trey Bradford, number 8, who's a speed deemer and can catch the ball at the backfield. And Josh Williams, a walk-on running back from Houston last year that was good enough to play at the end of the year, got a scholarship. None of those guys were available. Got a couple of guys coming in that you feel like are going to be vying, and I say it all the time, even though people get mad, running back by committee once again, 2021. But TDP, John Emery, and then these two guys you're going to talk about, I think LSU will be fine at running back.
I do too, and I think this will be, Tyrion Davis-Price will take the lead a little bit, at least at the beginning of the year. He's your most proven of your guys that are coming back. I think he's been a little bit more consistent than John Emery. Everybody talks about Emery's speed, and look, he's got a lot of it. He's that home run threat. You would just like to see him put it together a little bit and be a little bit more consistent. But these two guys coming in, Corey Kiner and Armani Goodwin, they both have a chance to be really, really good running backs in this league. Kiner gets a little bit more of the hype. He's probably got the bigger body, a little bit more ready to play now. But Armani Goodwin is a very good running back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and that's kind of what LSU was lacking a little bit last year, was that ability to catch the balls out of the backfield. I think if he puts on, maybe 10 to 15 pounds, he could take this backfield potentially, and he has a chance to be a really good player.
He's a speed dimmer, won some races in Alabama high school. Last topic before we go to a break, wide receivers. Now, look, we said this going into last year that Mr. Chase was going to get doubled, and of course he opted out. Then we knew Marshall was going to get doubled, and then he opted out. Kayshon Boutte with an incredible record-breaking final game against Ole Miss, over 300 yards receiving. Lo and behold, he's going to get doubled. Jontra Kirkland with an incredible game. Coy Moore, Jeray Jenkins, Trey Palmer, the new kid Deion Smith, and then you got Jack Besh, and of course your boy Chris Hilton and Brian Thomas Jr. coming in. I mean, I think there are bodies at wide receiver, but the roles and the experience are questionable right now. You worried, or you think this will evolve? Because LSU's gone 4 and 5 wide a lot this year.
I'm not worried at all, actually. Look, what they lack in experience, they more than make up for in athletic ability. Deion Smith, if any of you were at the spring game, you saw this kid. He looked bigger than 205, in my opinion. He was huge out there. I thought it was Devontae Lee at first when I looked at him. He has a body right now where he looks like he's ready to go. Brian Thomas, we know he's a big body. Chris Hilton's got all the speed and athleticism in the world. And Jeray Jenkins had a little bit of a quieter day, and people weren't really talking about him, but it was the catches he made. There was a couple balls Brennan threw to him, and it looked like they were about to hit the ground, and he jumped right down there, and he snagged him right before that. Johnson threw him a ball that was a little bit behind him. He turned around, caught it, didn't even break stride. He has incredible range, and I think he's going to be a nice compliment to Boutte as well. Coy Moore, he's got speed. We saw him at running back a little bit, looked good there too. I think this is a really talented group, and I'm not concerned.
We'll break down the defense in more detail next time when we do this show, but just an overview, Durante Jones and all the new defensive coaches. Man, I was impressed with what they put on the field. Not as much thinking, more natural reaction, getting after people. Everybody in town knows that Coach O wants TFLs and he wants sacks. And lo and behold, you got Mason Smith, you got Jay Roy, Jaquelin Roy, you got Joe Evans, B.J. Ojulari, all these guys. And you didn't even see Bug Strong, Andre Anthony, and Ali Gay, Jordan Tolles and others at safety. And Dwight McLaughlin, to me, kind of sent the message out, hey, we know Eli Ricks is going to come back and play, and we know Stingley is going to probably be as good a corner as any in the country, but Dwight McLaughlin definitely sent out a message that he deserves some PT. So LSU looks like they have reestablished some depth at corner.
Yeah, they have. And, that's kind of what I came away the most impressed with. And that's kind of the position that everyone was kind of iffy about going in, was that secondary. I thought they looked great because these are talented receivers. We just talked about them. I thought Jordan Tolles looked really, really good at safety because they moved Jay Ward there because of lack of depth, and we've been trying to figure out who's going to take over that second safety spot. Toles may have locked it down. He looked really good. He's not going to show up on the stat sheet because he didn't make a ton of tackles, didn't have a pick, but he was going in there. He's breaking up passes, knocking them away from the receivers. Looked really fast out there. And, yeah, you mentioned Dwight McLaughlin. He's earning himself some serious playing time. He looked as good as anybody out there.
He really did. By the way, everybody hated to see Zach Van Rosenberg leave, but it looks like Peyton Todd is your next future punter. Now, I'm not taking anything away from 32, that place kicker who's as good as anybody kicking it in the end zone. But to me, I think it's Peyton Todd's job to lose, and I think the more experience he gets, yeah, he's going to have his shank, and he's going to kick some maybe a little bit low that are going to be very easily returned. But I think this guy, when he gets his oats and feels comfortable, going to be a great punter for LSU for years to come.
Yeah, LSU got a good one. He looked really good in the spring game. He had a lot of lift on his ball, a lot of hang time, and that's what you look for. You're going to have shanks. Everybody has them. Guys in the NFL have shanks. They come and they go. You got to make sure you limit them, especially this kid. He's a young guy. Tell you what, Avery Atkins, he punted well too. He downed one inside the 10, but definitely. Yeah, Peyton Todd, I think Peyton Todd's the real deal.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout, come back with Mike Scarborough. We do have some film from the spring game in case you have not seen it. We'll get to that. Much more on a Wednesday afternoon and evening right here. Bayou Smokehouse, the actual name of the restaurant, but the sign also says we serve it up as good as anybody. Old style barbecue. If you haven't been over here, what are you waiting for? Come back and see us in another segment right here on Tigers Roar with Buddy Sanji and Taylor Sharp in the house. Hope you're doing well. Back right after this.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
And we welcome you back. Hope everybody doing well. I have taken the sunglasses off because now we're talking about the bright side of things with LSU football. And, of course, we thank Amy and Cam and all of our servers and bartenders and waitresses over here. Bayou Smokehouse. Really, really good barbecue. You'll see the big sign along with Old Style Barbecue. That's what we're serving up, and we are the talk of the town. Come by and check it out or get you an order to go. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Mike Scarborough, good to talk with you from TigerBait.com. And we got a triple header today. We did radio, we're doing TV, and you and I are doing Facebook Live. So let's get right into it. Why are we so busy this time of year?
Well, we've had spring football. We always have recruiting. We got people wringing their hands over baseball, and now we're watching Kim Mulkey. I mean, this could be a women's basketball story at LSU that is big. When was the last time we had a big women's basketball story in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, it's been a long, long time, and of course I mentioned this, and I don't take pride in mentioning it, but LSU women's and men's team have never won a game in the Final Four. And Kim Mulkey, of course, is a national championship winner. Scott Drew just won it on the men's side. And so we get information, it seems like every hour. She's loving it at Baylor right now, but there's still people thinking, hey, something big's going to happen. You just got to be patient. And you got to look at the monetary thing. But certainly Scott Woodward would be sending a message to the conference if he was able to bring her home.
It'd be big. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, I've been kind of pointing it out and saying, look, man, you know, Woodward's about to start year 3 in Baton Rouge coming up. And, you know, what's on the ledger for him, and he really doesn't have anything. And, boy, if he could pull a national championship coach. You know, one of the things we always heard about Woodward when he got hired was, whether it was at Washington or A&M, he wasn't afraid to spend money. And so if you're going to go get Kim Mulkey, who I'm told with the incentives and bonuses from this past season, yes, she makes a little under 2.3, but I'm told she had an additional $500,000 that got her up to about 2.8. So if you're going to go get her, of course, that ends up throwing everything out of whack. If you're going to spend that kind of money on her, that means she's double your baseball coach. And how much more than Will Wade would that be?
Yeah. Well, there's been
but it's also your retort to them if they throw a fit is, well, hey, it's market value, and she's got national championships, and you know, and then you look to see, you know, how much more can you get for season tickets for LSU women's basketball, and that sort of thing.
I'm telling you, a lot of LSU people think it's going to happen. Of course, it's in the rumor mill stage right now. We will follow that very closely as well as most.
And I think Kramer Robertson is having fun with it on Twitter himself.
Okay, well, we all know he's her son. All right, Mike, let's talk about it. You and Taylor and others were in the press box for the spring game. If you could give us your overview of what you saw, the positives and the negatives.
Well, I just think, you know, I was always kind of downplaying the spring game because they're always boring, and I actually thought this one was kind of exciting. And my biggest takeaway of the day, while everybody was watching every throw of all the quarterbacks, To me, I'm most excited about the defensive line. I think when you get everybody who is missing from the game healthy, and then with what we saw there with newcomers and Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy, Joe Evans, Little was out there. Ojolari's getting bigger. Jacoby Guillory looked pretty good to me as well. Neil Farrell. There's just so many bodies there. I love that unit. To me, that's the position I'm most excited about. And then you go to corner and what McLaughlin looked like, and then the quarterbacks. I was telling you earlier, I'm kind of shocked by in our Tiger Bait poll on the front page that 51% of those who've answered the poll think Brennan is the number one starter coming out of spring, number one on the depth chart, and whereas I'm a guy who has Johnson number one.
And, of course, Taylor, one thing about it, if we went to Vegas and said who would be your sack leader for LSU in 2021, I'd at least have to put Jaquelin Roy in the conversation. He looked leaner. He just looked like he was more comfortable. And I think him and Mason Smith and all those players that Mike just alluded to, you got Savion Jones coming in. You got other guys coming in. I think the defensive line is finally going to look like what Ed Orgeron wanted it to look like, and it took him about 4 years to get there.
Yeah, look, you mentioned a guy like Jaquelin Roy. He looked fast. He looked a lot slimmer than he was this time last year. He was quick. He got a hand on Max Johnson a few times when Johnson tried to get outside the pocket. Look, you mentioned Savion Jones coming in and all these veterans returning. This could be the deepest defensive line LSU's had in quite some time.
And Mike, Mason Smith was dinged up a little bit. Coach O said that, but the first LSU player in football to ever wear the 0, and he's another guy that is considered one of LSU's better pass rushers inside. Ojolari, Ali Gay, Andre Anthony, all the other guys from the outside. I thought Sonny Fanoa, Mike, probably played a little bit better than we've seen.
Yep, Orgeron singled him out, no doubt. By the way, I didn't catch the story as to how he did it take some talking him into it to get 0? I wonder what Stringfellow thought of that.
I have not heard that, but it's the first guy ever to wear 0, and I hope he's got better luck than the other two, because Jaden Hill wore 0 in baseball and had a career-ending injury, and Mwani Wilkerson wears 0 in baskets. He had an okay year, but I think he'll be more in the mix next year.
When you choose the number 0, you don't have any margin for error, because if you don't perform well, then people can have fun with your number.
There's no doubt, and look, Taylor, at 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", about 310, 315, Coach O said, listen, this young man is going to be a beast. Hope the light goes on for him this year.
Well, look at him, buddy. I mean, look, a lot of these guys come in at the defensive tackle, defensive line position, and they got what they call baby fat on them. This kid doesn't have any of that. I mean, he looks like he's a 3-4 year veteran in the SEC body-wise right now. I think he's ready to go.
We know it's getting close to get beach time, and everybody tries to get thin. I wish I was as thin as LSU is at the tight end spot, because then not that I ever got into the thong or the one piece like these people do at the beaches. Oh, by the way, just a forewarning, sharks and tide, you got to be careful. Watch your kids when you're going to the beach. There's been some accidents in the spring. Please, we can't afford to lose anybody. All kidding aside about the tight end spot, Mike, that to me is the thinnest spot on this LSU team after spring football.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the running back position didn't look very, very well, but they're also dinged up. You didn't have Emory Jones, and then you're going to add Armani Goodwin and Corey Kiner in June. That position will be fine, but the tight end spot, that is, I think, probably your weakest link on the roster of all the units.
Taylor, a lot of people have asked me, what can you really get out of a spring game when everything is so vanilla and you don't have the blitz packages in and you're not trying to send the kitchen sink in disguise or fool anybody? I think where LSU is with 5 new coaches, this is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, it is. You saw the chemistry between them. And look, defense in particular, that's what this team lacked last year was that communication. They had a lot of breakdowns. That's one thing you didn't see. You didn't see that except the play that got called back for blocking the back. There were no blown coverages. There were no missed assignments in the spring game. So, look, that was a positive to see, and they can't get much worse than last year.
Mike, everybody, coaches always worry about losing guys to injuries. I did not hear anybody. Did anybody? I'm sorry. Chasen Hines got tweaked with a muscle injury in the arm or pec or whatever. But other than Chasen Hines, did you see anybody go out with an injury, Mike?
No, I mean, he said Mason Smith had a little bit of a shoulder separation, a light one. Is that what he said yesterday morning?
Yeah, he said he got tweaked a little bit, but he played a few snaps. All that's good. But look, we know attrition is going to come around the corner because everybody's got a free pass to go places. So let's talk about recruiting attrition and now this rule where everybody can transfer and not sit out a year. The guys coming in, talk about that and where you think LSU may lose some players and obviously where they may pick up a couple.
Well, I think the transfer rule is you need to get ready for it. You got to prepare for it. You have to be dedicated to it. And I think programs like LSU, it's really going to benefit them. I think it's going to benefit your power programs and the Power 5 conferences. You know, I watched Nick Saban's press conference last week when he was asked about it, and he said the rich get richer, and I think he's right. You know, it's the NCAA is really going to have to guard against tampering. That's all I got to say because basically what this is it's free agency for college football.
All right, now, Mike, they say you can transfer one time without having to sit out. Do you think this is going to evolve into more of that where they kind of just let anybody play wherever? Because I kind of feel like that was the original thought of the transfer portal, and it kind of turned into something they didn't want.
Well, and then we're going to find out a couple of years from now, you know, how many guys enter the transfer portal and they don't have any takers. You know, you can have a whole bunch of kids in the transfer portal, but that doesn't mean there's somebody that's got an opening for them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to enter that transfer portal, you probably ought to have a darn good idea already as a player where you're going to end up. You've already done your homework, and hate to say it, but maybe you've had your high school coach or a parent, you know, out working the phones on your behalf.
Mike, let's talk about this class of 2022, where they're sitting at with numbers and obviously some leans in state and what positions they want to finish up with this class.
Yeah, I do think by, you know, the start of the football season, end of August, LSU's going to be where they usually are with, you know, commitments getting close to 20. And it's just going to be a busy, busy summer. May 1st, you know, last year we didn't have a spring evaluation period. There was no high school spring football. Well, we're going to have it this May. So, and then June 1st, you're going to have the dead period end. And June and July is going to be unofficial visits, camps, official visits. And coaches are already scheduling all that, knowing that the dead period is going to end. So with the high school the football camp starting May 1, and I don't see July being like a usual July where it's usually that's when coaches go on vacation. And other than the SEC football media days, it's pretty much July is off. I think July is going to be jam-packed. So the way I see it, as far as I'm concerned, football season starts May 1st for me because I don't see where there's going to be any time off between now and the end of football season.
We're showing some film. We're watching Max Johnson throwing to Kayshon Boutte. Brendan had some big plays. Johnson had some big plays. They all had some big plays. Mike, your awards, special teams, defense, and offensive MVPs from what you saw in the spring game.
Well, I don't know you can give one on special teams because there was no rush, but I did like what I saw out of Peyton Todd punting out there in pregame. And also during the game, you know, we know Avery Atkins and York can do. York hitting over a 50-yarder. But I mean, look, I like, despite the 5 interceptions, I like the quarterback room. Worried about tight end. Defensive line was my number one. And I enjoyed watching McLaughlin do what he did. Jontre Kirkland, what a game he had playing for both the white and the purple team. Huge day for him. So everybody's staking their claim as to who's the 2 and 3 wide receivers, and then you're going to get Jack Besh, Chris Hilton, and Brian Thomas in June. So LSU's going to have the weapons there. Then we wait to see if there's a way for Reed Gilbert to get it done, whatever he needs academically and so forth. Is there a way for him to be a part of the football games in the fall for LSU?
We're seeing some of those highlights, and I mentioned this with Taylor. Is that the best the LSU field has looked in the previous 5 or 6 years, in your opinion, Mike?
Yeah, and think about it, man. We had rain all last week, and I'm guessing that might have helped, but that stadium, that field drains so well now. And the rain stayed away all day Saturday, and it was beautiful out there.
All right, if you could tell them what you get when you become a subscriber and do business with TigerBait.com. Got a lot of promotions.
That's it. You get our newsletters, our text alerts for breaking news, all our recruiting video. Nobody does it better than we do. All our analysis of football. Of course, we cover baseball, basketball, everything LSU. And with this Kim Mulkey stuff, we're now following the women's coaching search. So check out TigerBait.com. $1 gets you on the site. And as always, choose the annual package. It's the least expensive option. And you basically get 3 months for free when you do that.
Hey, and just wrapping up, you expect this to be a highly ranked 2020 recruiting class? You're looking at top 3, 4, or 5 in the country, Mike?
I don't see how it's any less than third in the country, and I think they've got a chance at being number 1. But it'll be 1, 2, or 3, and it's going to be one of the better classes in LSU history.
Thank you, sir, and we'll do it again tonight at 8 o'clock with Facebook Live with TigerBait.com as Facebook Live tonight with Mike Scarborough and myself, and Taylor will get in there with you on some nights. Good stuff, my friend.
All right, talk to y'all later. Thanks.
And there's a teaching moment that we just saw on the TV. And I know you're excited, Jontre Kirkland, but you're a fifth-year guy. You can't spike the ball. It's a 15-yard penalty. So hopefully that won't they'll chew him out a little bit, but he won't do that in a real game. The other thing that we know is that with instant replay, don't be the honey badger. Don't dislodge the ball before he crossed the goal line like they did many years ago and he got away with.
Yeah, and luckily Eli Ricks wasn't on the field Saturday. He got away with it actually twice last year, but yeah, you can't spike the ball like that and get an unnecessary penalty. Same with Jeray Jenkins getting that unnecessary block in the back. That guy wasn't catching Kayshon Boutte, and you cost your team a 50-yard touchdown.
All right, we'll wrap it up, folks. Final break here. Once again, Bayou Smokehouse, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. The big sign that says Old School Barbecue. Nobody doing it like us in Baton Rouge right now. Back to wrap up Tigers Roar on a Wednesday evening right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
And we welcome you back. A gorgeous Chamber of Commerce Wednesday afternoon. It is April 21. We are taping Wednesday afternoon. Once again, from a calendar standpoint, LSU at Ole Miss tomorrow night, ESPNU at 7 on, of course, Friday at 6:30 on the digital network, and, of course, Sunday a noon game. Let's roll the highlights of the spring game. You and I will give a few more tidbits of some of the stars, and here we go right out of the gate. Max Johnson starting for the team to get the first start because of the 2 wins, Taylor.
Yeah, and look, that was one of his best throws of the day. It was a corner route over the shoulder. You see a similar one right here. He killed the defense on that route all day.
Jontre Kirkland scored 2 touchdowns against Vandy last year and then wasn't really a presence. What's it going to take for him to get in the top 4 as a receiving corps?
Consistency with catching the ball. I think he had some noticeable drops last year at some really inopportune times. If he can clean that up, he's got all the athleticism in the world.
Here we go with TJ Finley, of course, a big target, 6'6", 240. And here's the problem. Derek Stingley with an INT. TJ's got to have a little bit better ball security.
Yeah, he does. I thought he held onto the ball a little bit too long there because, look, Finley's got the arm. We've seen it. If he can get that ball over the top of Stingley before he gets there, that could potentially be a touchdown.
Of course, Miles Brennan looked as good as anybody in the first half, and here's one of these stellar throws. And I'm trying to see who that was. I didn't ever see it, but he was on fire in the first half.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was like 11 of 15 for 105 and a touchdown in the first half. That's about as good as you're going to get, especially in a spring game. Struggled a little bit in the second half. I thought he reverted back to a little bit of his bad habits in terms of not having a wide enough base, struggling with a little bit of footwork on his shorter throws in the second half. But yeah, out of the gate, Miles Brennan looked better than all of them.
Coy Moore played some running back because there were so many many injuries, and Corey Moore made a statement. He is definitely going to be in the mix. Of course, there's the touchdown once again to Corey Moore. Can you spin the ball like that and not get a penalty?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I doubt it because they're so strict with this. That's something you got to clean up too as a coach.
And Justin Jefferson obviously taught him to dance. Tell everybody about what they do in the end zone now. Everybody does.
The gritty.
Yeah.
The gritty. Justin Jefferson himself, one of my favorite Tigers, did it, and he's still doing it now.
He's taught everybody in Minnesota. I mean,
he has. Adam Thielen tried to do it. It was a little painful to watch, but he's getting there.
And we know that obviously when you talk about the spring game, you want to develop some semblance of a depth chart. I was pleasantly surprised with the number of studs they had on the D-line. You had some guys that sat out on defense, and Andre Anthony, and obviously Ali Gay, and Bug Strong, and Todd Harris. So looking better on the defense. Give me a little general overview, what you liked, and we're only talking about 25 to 30% of this team, what they have as far as packages, and we know that they'll get a lot of these guys healthy, and they're just starting to put in some stuff. Can they get there in 4.5 months and be ready to kick UCLA's butt in the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, they can. As far as what I liked on the defensive side of the ball, I thought they flew to the ball. You didn't see a lot of missed tackles like you did last fall. They gang tackled them a lot. They all flew to the ball. Offense, I like the formations. They were very multiple in their formations. You saw a lot of bunch sets in the spring game. We didn't see that at all, but we saw it a lot in 2019. We're very successful with Chase and Jefferson on those crossing routes out of that bunch formation.
Of course, Durante Jones is the new DC. Jake Peets, of course, coming over on the offensive side. Look, everybody's talking about duplicating 2019, but you don't have Chase and Marshall and Jefferson and Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that's just on offense. What's fair to expect for the LSU fan in 2021 football?
I think you'd expect a 10-win season. Like you said, everybody wants to emulate that 2019 team. You're not going to. You're not going to see a 2019 team again, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But be the best version of you that you can be. Go out there and execute the plays, because Jake Peets, by all accounts, has brought a lot of creativity back to this offense that we kind of lacked at times last year. But I think a 10-2 record is a reasonable assumption.
Of course, we had the bucket list trip to Lambeau. Now a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon with a bucket list trip out west to the Rose Bowl, LSU, UCLA. You know it's going to be a national TV game. In lights, we were talking about it. I just don't see LSU losing this game. No disrespect to the Bruins.
I don't either. I actually like LSU by double digits. If I had to place a bet on it today, I would take LSU by 10 plus. I think they're that good. UCLA's their quarterback room is not great. They struggle with inconsistency really the last couple of years, but they're going to have to kind of try to keep pace with LSU on the offense, and I don't think they can do it.
First SEC road game at Mississippi State. I've said this a couple times. If you're not fired up to send a message to Mississippi State, I'm not a big guy on revenge, but after what happened in the first game of the season last year, if you're an LSU Tiger and you won that field and you got embarrassed, you better go over there and kick some butt.
Yeah, and you should feel a little disrespected as well. They're ranked higher than you right now, and I don't like that. I don't think they return a whole lot. They returned Will Rogers at quarterback, and he did some nice things for them at the end of the year, but they kind of limped into the end of that season, and I think LSU takes that one easy.
All right, you can't hear the people, but we've had a bunch of customers coming in. They are all over this Bayou Smokehouse, the big sign that says Old School Barbecue. Once again, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Come by and see us and enjoy it. And look, Cam and Katie and everybody in the bar taking care of you. Want to give a shout out to Greg, our cameraman tonight, Alan and Katie in the truck, and all of us over here at Pelican Sports TV. Final comments from you.
Hey, thanks for this opportunity, buddy, because this was something I wasn't expecting. You kind of threw it at me last minute. We kind of ran with it, and look, it was a joy. Anytime you want to have me back, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it a lot. By the way, we hope and pray that all of you continue to stay safe. Look, I'm not going to throw any political messages out there, but if you can, get the vaccine. We are just striving to get back to some normalcy, and Old School Barbecue over here at Bayou Smokehouse will make you feel like the good old days. And baseball this weekend, of course, we'll continue to monitor all the things that's going on in football. And Taylor, as always, you know in this town there's plenty to follow, especially with LSU. Dawson Modems, by the way, leaving inexplicably with Southern. They'll have to replace a great coach.
Yeah, a bit of a head scratcher. He was very successful at that program. I believe he's 52 and 17 overall. It's going to be hard to replace him.
Once again, appreciate all those people in the truck. Greg here. Once again, as always, we'll do it again over here with Tigers Roar, Pelican Sports TV. Have a safe and Wednesday afternoon. We tell you, be good. We'll see you next time here on Tigers Roar, everybody.